All right, 13 News Now at 4 is back with a little more than 24 hours left before results are expected to start rolling in for the 2024 election. Dr. Eric Claville from Norfolk State University joins me this afternoon to talk a little bit more in depth about the presidential election and what we might be able to expect tomorrow. No predictions here. I know it's crazy. The polls all over the place. Now, one thing that people say is, hey, remember in 2016 and 2020, Donald Trump underpolled. It actually outperformed the polls. Right. You think that will happen again this year?
I think you will see both candidates outperform the polls for various reasons. First, on the Republican side, the strategy of early voting. Now, this is a party that fought against early voting for years, even here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and even with former President Donald Trump saying that early votes were fraudulent and they weren't any good. But they see it as a winning strategy. So you're going to see the Republicans on that side overperform on early voting. I think also on the gender side, you will see Democrats overperform because of the issue of women's rights to choose and the decision of the Supreme Court of Roe versus Wade.
What about that poll in Iowa that everyone just can't stop talking about, where Harris leapfrogged Donald Trump up by 3? What does that mean as it relates not just to Iowa, but maybe some of these other battleground states?
Well, Iowa itself is a state that really doesn't represent the diversity of the country. However, it does represent a demographic that shows independence and how they're swinging toward one candidate or the other. So when you see Harris with the gender gap, with women swinging more toward her, with Midwestern white Americans swinging more toward her than the former President Donald Trump, I think that's a very important poll to take a look at as it relates to each of the battleground states that are within the margin of error.
Okay, really quickly in North Carolina, because that's part of our viewing area. What are we seeing there? We know Donald Trump keeps going there quite a bit, because that makes you think he's seeing some things that might, frighten him a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, I believe the issue of immigration is playing very well in North Carolina. As a matter of fact, if you're watching any news station like 13 News Now, you'll see over and over again at least 3 to 4 back-to-back campaign messages about immigration for various candidates, including the former president. With that being the case, even though the current candidate for governor, current lieutenant governor, has seen his poll numbers drop, you are still seeing the former president rise in his and remain solid in his support on that issue.
On that issue. All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and try to get some rest, because tomorrow's going to be a long day.
It's our Super Bowl. That it is.
All right. If you have any questions about the upcoming election, you can find a breakdown of what you need to know in our 13 News Now voter guide. Just pull up your camera and scan the QR code right there on your screen.